Hi, this is David in the stained glass studio, and we're working on the spinner that has a bunch of little pieces in it. This is the Octagon spinner. Now look here, I'm working on page 12, and occasionally I will talk about page 7 in some of this, because page 7 is so much like page 12. When I did our pattern piece tracing, I was using page 7, but look, page 12 is almost the same, except it's got the little pieces of glass that you're going to need to solder on drawn in, and on that they're not. But that's really about the only thing. So anyhow, this pattern shows you what the Octagon can look like. You can do it with this type, but it's better to do it with this way I'm going to show you today. And then the little pieces of spacers, you're going to need that. So really you only need 2 pattern pieces. You need the pattern piece that's traced down on page 7, and you need the pattern piece that's traced there. I thought I better show you what we're talking about here. This one right here is one that I finished, but you'll notice that the big holes are left in the middle. And the reason for that is if you look along the sides here, you can see that the side comes in and then comes out. It's deformed a little bit. Same thing here. And I'm going to make a piece of wood that I can place inside this type to fix that, but I don't actually have to fix this one. It's all together, and it'll work fine once I solder in the centerpiece axle. But now that's that one. Here's one that's actually working in place and looks great and cranks along, and you can see how everything spins around in the spinner. You can hear it. And the only thing is it needs to be cleaned really badly. It just didn't get cleaned. I think we were doing a demonstration showing how to build it, and then brought it home and forgot about it. So anyhow, that one needs to be cleaned. The reason I wanted to show you this one, okay, this is the one we're going to be making today. You see, it's the same thing, but it's just got a split right here and right here. And that way it's not going to deform at all when we solder it together. So that's pretty cool. And you can see that as we turn this stuff gets kind of flops around like a traditional kaleidoscope. So that's what we're going to be working on. Okay, we're back. I've got my piece of pattern board and a piece of carbon paper and my plan. So here's what we're doing here. Come up and then around. You see, and so we don't have to drill a hole because we're going to be grinding out a hole. Alrighty. There it is.
Those are very long scissors.
Okay, well, we've got our pattern piece here. Isn't that lovely? There's the bad side, you can tell, because we had to retrace it. I don't know if I need to do it like that or not. Just for fun, I'm gonna put it on here. Let's see, I need to I find that the pattern piece slides on me a little bit, and I don't like that because I want this to be just about perfect. Some people put a little bit of glue, that sticky glue that kids have at school. That would hold it down better. Oh shoot. A student asked Jeannie the other day if they couldn't just use a straight edge to cut all the straight lines. And that really isn't a good idea because then you don't get the practice of getting good with your handheld cutter. Well, I guess I'll go over and show you how we grind it.
Explain what you're doing with this sponge.
Okay, keep things wet with the sponge. You know, because there's this sponge down here touches that one, but up here there's nothing to touch. So I gotta keep that dirt diamond surface cool. Funky. I don't know what's going on.
I think you should use these.
You what?
I think you should use these. Safety glasses. That flies up. I know it does. I've had it come up today.
Fits pretty well. So we'll clean that up and then foil it and then solder it. Okay, here's Jeannie cleaning off the clear glass. All right, what are you doing here?
Well, I'm lining it up, but you know what I need is my
Readers?
Yes.
Didn't you throw them on the ground outside earlier?
Accidentally, I sure did. Okay, I'm lining it up in the center, going all the way around, kind of eyeballing it, making sure it's down the center.
Okay. And the only thing that's really kind of critical in this is stuffing it in that place where the hole is.
Okay.
see. Crack. What?
Not in the glass, in the copper foil.
No.
So, have to make a place because I am cutting another window right there. I have poster board, carbon paper, and our pattern.
Page 12.
Page 12. If you don't trust yourself, you can use a straight edge.
Okay. And now we need 8 pieces of clear glass.
Sorry. All right, clear glass.
And then you just take your pattern piece there and use it to line up on it.
Am I counting?
It's 8.
Okay. Do you have a favorite one?
Favorite what?
Kaleidoscope.
I'm not sure. I guess I like this design best because it has all those bits and they flop around, form different shapes. But I like building the others because they seem easier.
When I do this, I always think, oh, I wish I would have polished my nails. But they always get ground away on the grinder anyway. So I don't.
Did you flip it over and get the other side too, or?
No, I only fluxed one side. So I'll turn them all over and flux and solder the other side. So you want inside here too?
No,
Okay.
doesn't matter. We're gonna get that later.
Okay.
But we definitely want it on top.
Okay.
And I'm trying to keep them in sets.
Yeah, I think those belong together.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to show how to do the three-dimensional soldering on this. A little bit tricky.
I will let you.
It's interesting how many steps there are to successfully build a stained glass kaleidoscope. All right, so I've got the two pieces with the holes in the center lined out, all aligned. I had to flip this one over so that the two sets of holes lined up, and you can see there's a bit of a gap here and here because I'm not sure if I got a wide enough hole. So now I'm just tacking these two. Now that they're tacked, I just want to do a very shallow line here. I don't want it, I want it to be pretty flat. I don't want to have too much of a buildup of solder. And I'm staying a little ways away from the edge where the hole is going to be. I don't want to exaggerate it because that will be a difficult piece to fill once I have the box created. The spinner will form a box, but I won't be able to get my soldering iron in there. Okay, now that I've got these tacked together, or rather soldered together, they're not tacked, but they're kind of very loosely soldered. Now I'm going to come up, I've got an idea for a way that I can hold these pretty steady as we solder them. Drill press, because I want the hole that I'm going to drill to go right at a 90-degree angle into the wood. So one of the things I have to do is kind of decide how far down this is going to go. I want it to be able to get through the wood and it looks like that will. So okay, so not a very big hole, but it's going to be very important for this little holder So let's see. Now I'm taking the bit out because I'm going to use this bit. This bit is the size of the holes in those side pieces of the piece we're working on. And so just so happens that if I use this as a holder, then those things ought to hang on to the piece that I'm working on. So now I have to I tried just cutting this off on my chop saw, and it sliced it too violently, so I decided I'd do the hole first. And this is just simply a spacer because I don't want the glass piece to be right up against this, because it's hard to get my fingers around it. So now I'm going to put a little bit of glue. And here's my So there aren't any directions on this because it's just a couple pieces of scrap wood . So here's my, if I had a piece of wooden dowel, I might use it, but I don't, so I'm just going to use the drill bit. And now we're ready to go over and solder this thing. So the way I found which one of these drill bits fit through is I took them and I checked them, and it turns out that the 7/32 was the size that fit. Look there. It sort of sits on there pretty nicely, and then put this one on, and what do you know? And so that kind of gives me a stable way to hold it while I get going here. So here are the pieces, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to place it over one corner halfway across the tinned part, and then I will line the second side up and get it on there. Same kind of direction. So first I'm going to see, maybe I'll just move this one right out of the way. Not sure if my soldering iron's heated up enough. Got a bottle of water around here? Okay, so I'm just going on this corner edge, and I'm going to have it halfway on there. This is really tricky. Okay, now see, it's almost the perfect length. And now on this one, on this side, I'm going to just tack that. Okay. And there is the second side. Woohoo, got to get that on there. Just and the little jig holding the drill bit in place really does a good job. Now this is 3D soldering. Come on. And you really got to use some patience. See that? It kind of slid over a bit, and I have to get it. Okay, that's better. Now, I'm tempted to go around to the other side and put one of these spacers on this side. In the past, I've gone around one by one, but I think I might put one here first. And you can see there's going to be a slight gap here, but I'll be able to fill that when we go to seal the whole thing. Now you see this side is out over a little bit, and that's just simply because of differences in when we cut it. And look down here, you see how it's got a little bit of a tilt on it? Well, that's because the two aren't quite perfect. But they're going to look great when we get them on here. And now I think I'll just put this one right here. You see you've got a little bit of a gap. That'll be okay. Ooh, don't want to drop it. Shorten this one. Yeah, I'm going to take this one now and I'm going to cut off the edge. Now I'll have to put some different foil on here and tin it. What I want. That's the one I want. Okay. Gets heavier. Let me get this on here. I'm gonna use my pliers to hold it. With the liquid flux, you just run water in it, and the water and the flux will just run right out of this little construction. Now let's get you. I can't tell you how much easier this is than what I've done before. I've never had this holder. Now, let's see, come on. I guess I could put a piece of tape on it to hold it. Now see this part right here? I am not going to fill that during this lesson. And there's a reason for that, and we'll get to it when we're applying brass. Don't forget to clean out your spinner. Woohoo, look at that, isn't that fun? Going out both sides. Okay, well this has been David in the stained glass studio working on one of the spinners for our Kaleidoscope project. Next time we're going to work on a part of the project which will be useful depending on either which one of the spinners you picked. It'll be useful for you. So we'll see you next time.